This video introduces you to the EMG and breathing application. By monitoring both breathing and EMG, the application allows you to focus on muscle tension within the context of breathing. It introduces new derived parameters that enable you to differentiate between breathing styles, notably abdominal or diaphragmatic breathing versus chest-based breathing. If you haven't already watched the Introduction to EMG video, I recommend you do so before continuing further. The two most common placements for the EMG sensors are the wrists and the forehead. The wrist placement detects muscle activity in the shoulders, arms and hands, and even the upper chest and neck to some extent. It's useful because you can see breathing-related muscle activity. In this graphic, the breath is the light green trace. It goes up on the in-breath and down on the out-breath. The magenta trace is muscle tension. You can see there's a rhythm in the muscle tension that's in step with the breathing. That's because it's an example of chest-based breathing. The shoulders and upper chest muscles are tightening on the inhalation, and this is being picked up by the sensors. This is an example of abdominal breathing. You can see the rhythm in the magenta EMG trace is much less pronounced. That's because this time the diaphragm is doing the main work, and it doesn't get detected by the wrist sensors. The forehead placement, which detects muscle tension in the whole head and face, can also be productively used with the EMG and breathing application. It's just that the muscle tension you're detecting isn't related to breathing. The parameters derived from breathing are 1. Breathing rate, 2. SDBR, or standard deviation of breathing rate. This is simply a measure of how variable the breathing rate is. When the breathing is very steady and regular, the breathing rate is relatively constant and SDBR is low. 3. The ratio of inhalation to exhalation. This is in terms of the length of time taken for each. 4. Minimum EMG. The software notes the minimum muscle tension over the cycle of the most recent breath. This is useful because it effectively filters out brief muscle movements, such as swallowing or small postural adjustments. 5. Chest score. This is a calculation that combines EMG and breathing. I developed it as a means of differentiating abdominal breathing or diaphragmatic breathing from chest-based breathing. Chest score is calculated as follows. For every half breath, the software registers the maximum and minimum EMG, and then it calculates the difference between them. This will be high in the case of chest breathing, as you see in this example, and low in abdominal breathing. This measure is equivalent to the height of the EMG wave. Chest score is simply this measure averaged over a number of breaths. Chest score won't detect chest breathing that is fast and shallow. That's because there's little change over the cycle of the breath. On the other hand, you'll be able to see this breathing pattern because the muscle tension will be consistently high. Breathing is richly variable, and it reflects our mental and emotional state. For example, we take a sharp in-breath when we're shocked, and sigh when we're fed up. Stressed breathing is often chest-based, fast and tight. Changing the breathing is a means of changing how you feel. But take care not to be overly willful in your efforts. Instead, allow change to happen naturally. Keep an attitude of openness and curiosity. Remember that optimal breathing feels good, pleasurable, natural and effortless. Notice pleasurable sensations and then give them space to grow. In particular, give yourself time to release all the muscles on each out-breath, so that the breath can go all the way out, though not in a forced way. Then imagine your body will draw the next breath right down into the belly. Feel the belly swelling out and the lower back stretching out. Allow the breath to be slow but gentle and subtle. Taking big deep breaths that fill the lungs right up is definitely not optimal breathing. In fact, it's a form of hyperventilation. See the application's user guide for further information.